Hey y'all, good evening. It's Miss Council. Welcome back to another hot topic. Hope you all have had a wonderful day, a productive day, because we've got to make sure that we make every day count. Hey, big sister, I see you're on. Thanks for joining. My biggest fan joining us tonight. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Giving everybody a moment to join us. Hope everybody has had an opportunity to get dinner, relax a little bit, so we can get into this topic tonight. We've got a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about tonight. A big announcement that I'm going to be making tonight. So I hope that you all are ready. Hey, little brother, I see that you're on. Thanks for joining. We're going to be getting into a huge announcement just shortly. I'm going to be sharing it with you all. Hey, cousin. See my cousin Derry that's on with us. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll start in just a moment. You know, I like to give everybody a moment to get on with us. And then I'll jump right into my topic. You know, the last time we were here, we talked about a few different things, but the last video was inspired by something that I said in the previous video. You got to be somebody worth being with. Hey, Nina, I see you're on. Christy, welcome, welcome. You got to be somebody worth being with. So I'm going to recap that video for you just shortly, but you just remember that all of my videos, I share them on my timeline. Please make sure you like, share, and repost this video. Tag a friend who it may help. That's why I'm here, is to help people. So let's get into it tonight. I am Miss Council, and I am a relationship expert and and a life coach, and I work with women who are divorced and remarried, get their lives together, and have successful second marriages. So I talked about a big announcement. I think I'm gonna wait to make that announcement until the end, so y'all hang in there with me. So hey girl, hey Rosa, thanks for joining. So in my last video, I talked about you being somebody worth being with, and that's about self-awareness. You know, being conscious of who you are and what it is that you are bringing to the table. Everything that we're asking for from somebody else, we should already be that, right? We shouldn't be on our way to greatness if we're asking for greatness, getting caught up in what someone drives and what degrees they have, but we not meeting them where they are, you know. So asking for what it is that you want, that's what I always say. You know, ask for what it is that you want, but you also got to be that. Okay, you have to be that as well. You know, I left you with some tips, and that video was titled Check Yourself. So check yourself before you wreck yourself. Y'all remember that song by Ice Cube? But check yourself. That's the video from last week on Thursday. So check that video out. But thank you again for joining me one more time so we can talk about an interesting topic. Don't y'all let me forget that I'm going to make an important announcement at the end. So if I start winding down on this show, say, hey, Miss Council, the announcement. I'm sure my husband, he's right here. He will remind me if I forget. Oh, but before I forget, let me shout out my girl Angelita for my I Am Black History shirt, all bedazzled and blinged out and everything. She made it for me, so I was like, ain't nothing wrong with a little bling and a great reminder that I am Black History. So let's get right on into it. I want y'all to be honest. I'm going to be honest. Some of our relationships are not going well. We are only smiling for the cameras and kicking it with each other, you know, just for the kids, for those of you who are married. We celebrate Valentine's Day, birthdays, anniversaries, posting pictures, smiling. Me and babe, me and my boo, me and hubby. Other than that, it's business as usual. Sometimes we get stuck in a rut and we get in these relationships we don't know how to leave. But once you're in that committed relationship or you're married, you're with that person and their behaviors for the long haul, right? But it's probably because you don't know how to undo what's already been done. So tonight, we're going to talk about how to declutter your relationship. That's our topic. Decluttering is an act of organizing. That's when you throw out some stuff, you keep stuff. I've heard so many different ways of doing it over the years, but we've seen so many different shows. Anybody watch Hoarders before? Y'all give me a like if you've watched Hoarders or any of those types of shows. Does it ever help you to kind of or encourage you to go in and clean out that closet? But there are shows that are out there, and they have people who go out there and they organize people's homes to try to gain some type of order in their mess. Isn't that always interesting? Somebody else is going in to clean up someone else's mess. Y'all remember that? So sometimes you wonder when you're watching these shows, like, how did you let things get that bad? Why didn't they take the time to clean up? Because that's what I'm thinking. Like, why didn't you just take the time to clean up? How can you even find anything? Or maybe you're thinking, just throw the whole house away. Could be. Well, some of those same questions cross my mind when it comes down to relationships. How do you let things get that bad? Why didn't you just take the time to fix the problems? How do you accomplish anything and maybe just throw the whole relationship away? Hey, Terry. Hey, Barbara. Thanks for joining. So let's talk about decluttering this relationship. You must declutter your relationship to identify the problem, to address it, and then move forward. That's what we're talking about tonight. So how do you declutter a relationship? I've given you this analogy about the house. We don't want to throw the whole relationship away, right? So we want to figure out, what's going on and how we need to move forward. One of the first things I'm going to say, y'all know what's one of my favorite things to say is you got to communicate. There it is again. Talk it out. Sometimes somebody just sucking up all of your energy, sucking up all of the air out of the room. And when that happens, you got to do something about it, right? That might be your husband, your wife, your boo thing, your forever mate. That could be happening. Or if you're, it could be somebody else in your life. So take note. Take note. It could be somebody else. I don't know. I hear that sometimes these videos reach out to other people other than, it's not just for people who are divorced. So it's going to be a message in here for some. I say that you have to acknowledge the role that you play in your relationship and its downfall. It's never one person's fault. So sometimes, and I mention that because sometimes people are trying to find fault in something. You have to verbalize what the issue is. If y'all, that there's an issue. It might be that there is an issue. That's what the issue is. And you realize it and say, you know what? I'm going to say something. Like, you walking around here, you got a chip on your shoulder. It seems like you're always mad. What's wrong? That something's going on and you can't quite figure it out. Hey, stop trying to be a mind reader. You got to open your mouth and find out what's going on. That's if you care. I say you do because you're still there. So you have to verbalize that there is an issue. Hey, big brother, I see you're on with us. Thanks for joining. To verbalize that there is an issue. So you gotta say, hey, homeboy, let's talk. We got to sit down and talk. Because you don't even know what the problem is. And sometimes there's an underlying problem where we as individuals will take it personally real quick. That's me raising my hand. Take things personally real quick and not realize that it ain't even about us. Something could be going on at work. Something could have happened in traffic on the way that we don't even know what was going on. And that person may come in with a chip on their shoulder. So don't first think to defend yourselves, because I'm speaking from experience. I'll be over here, ready to take my hand up, put my boxing gloves on, not literally, but preparing for a fight. Like, oh, he done came in with an attitude. Hey Kim, I see you're on. Thanks for joining. But he done came in with an attitude. What he got an attitude for? Because of the fact that we're thinking that it's about us. And sometimes it's not. It could be. But you won't know until you ask. It's all in the way that you ask, though. Think about how you like people to talk to you. And when somebody comes at you, talking at you and pointing the finger, then that person's not going to receive it well, right? You wouldn't receive it well. So think about how you need to communicate with your person, your mate. What's the best way to communicate with them to start that conversation? It could be, hey, how things going at work? And they say, okay, well, what does mean? I want to know, what's going on? How was your day? How things going? But if you already if you talk to them on a daily basis, you should, in general, know what's going on. So, hey, that's part of it too. Talking, having conversations, winding down together. But having conversations and understanding what's going on in that person's life. You can't have a conversation once a week with your spouse. You got to talk to them on a regular basis. The next thing I'm going to talk about is letting that ish go. I called it ish because y'all know what I'm talking about. All of it. Ish could be anything. Let it go. Anything that's in the past that y'all already talked about it. Y'all already moved on. Or maybe you weren't ready to move on. And you need to not just let things be smoothed over. If you're not ready to move on, if there's still an issue in that moment, talk about it. Don't just say, oh, okay. Oh, I'm good. All right. I accept your apology, but you're not all right. So deal with it. When it comes up, you've got to learn how to deal with it. I had to learn how to deal with it when things come up and have the whole conversation at some time. At that point in time, and if it's okay if you need a few minutes or an hour, or let me get back at you later on after dinner, but set some time so that you can sit down and talk to your person. That's the person you committed to be with, right? That's the person that you love. Don't just let that go. The problem is that people let things go on too long. If you walked into your kitchen and the garbage was stinking, what would you do? I mean, literally, what do? You're gonna zero in on that garbage can. Doesn't matter how full it is, you're going to take that bag out and discard it outside somewhere, right? So you notice that there's a problem. You just didn't let it continue to linger. You knew it was a problem because you smelled something. So it's the same thing when it comes down to a relationship. When your person starts acting different, when they're not even smiling when it comes down to you. I'm just saying, the things that normally make them happy don't make them happy anymore. You got to know that, and you've got to find out what's going on. So go and open the lid and see what's going on with your relationship. Some stinks. Better find out what the source is so that you can address it and be able to move forward. Now, when you do talk, be patient. Know that you're opening up a can of worms that obviously your mate didn't want to, or they weren't ready to. So they're not going to really be excited to talk about it. But you've got to kind of ease into it. And again, it's knowing your person. It could be, hey, I wanted to talk to you about something. Or, it depends on who it is that you're dealing with. Hey, homeboy, let me holler at you. Or, whatever it is, whatever terms you need to use, you know your person. You know how to talk to them. And if you don't, we're going to have to talk about that. You need to go back a few videos, how to talk to them. You've got to discover that. Remember, I talked about a communication plan, and fighting fair and setting those rules of engagement. You got to do that. I know it might not sound pleasant. It may not seem like it's popular, but you've got to do that so that you know how to not open up a can of worms, but you know how to open up the conversation. And they can tell you best, how to talk to. How do I approach you when it seems like you're angry? That person may say, you know what, leave me alone. That's how you do it. Just leave me alone. Okay, until when? How will I know an okay time to talk to you? So those are the things that I want you to think about when you're addressing the problem, talking it out. When I say let that ish go, holding on to the past is just going to continue to allow those feelings to linger. And they're not feelings of love and adoration and all that good stuff when it comes down to a relationship, and it's detrimental. So remember, like I was talking about that smell lingering in the air? You're going to go and look in that garbage can and find out what it is. You might not even look. You're going to say, I know what the source of the problem is. Let me take it out. Do the same with your relationship. You're not going to let that linger. But that's for you. For the peace in your life, you got to protect your peace. You got to maintain the peace in your life, because that's what keeps many of us. I wish I had a percentage to give you, but it would just be made up. But that's what holds us back a lot of times in relationships. That's what holds us at keeps us from moving forward. Holds us back, but keeps us from moving forward in a relationship, or having some apprehension about moving forward in a relationship. I think we need peace. We need peace to be able to rest. We need peace in our lives to be able to be happy, and the space to get that peace, and helping our spouses, our mates, to understand what that looks like and what it is that we need. I talked about basic relationship needs a while back. Go back to that video like last week or the week before. Your basic relationship needs, you have to know what those are in order to be able to communicate them with your mate. Know what they are. So when you won't just let things go, like when I say just let the ish go, I ain't saying just let it go like it never happened. Whatever the ish is, I'm not saying just let it go. You've got to address it, because it's going to continue to linger. If you got questions, something don't look right, something don't seem right, if you just let it go, there are things. Sometimes you got bigger fish to fry, and it's like, it ain't even all of that. But when it's something that's continuing to come across your mind, you need to talk to your person about it. Let them know how you feel about it, so they can address whatever your concerns are. Continue to hold those thoughts, and then to bring them up in the midst of an argument, that ain't gonna go well. Because how do you win? What's winning look like if you're doing that? It's not going to help you win, and your relationship won't win, because you're going to always have that one eye, like something ain't right. And I think it affects the trust. And so once the trust is broken down, you're going to have difficulties in your relationship. All right. Set some boundaries. I talk about this book that I've read called, we've read, called Boundaries in Marriage. It's a good book. Go out there and check it out. I think it's available everywhere. So go out there and check it out. But boundaries in marriage, you've got to set boundaries in your relationship. Remember, we're talking about decluttering your relationship. What are those things, identifying those things, those issues that are keeping your relationship from progressing and towards happiness and being able to move forward. So boundaries. If every single morning your mate wakes up and they playing their daily jam, some people have that song they play every morning when they get up, they brushing their teeth, they humming to it, they dancing around the room. And if they disturbing your peace, they waking you up, what do you do about it? Just be mad all day long? Nope. You gotta say, hey, hey boo, is it possible that you could use your earbuds? That's communicating as well. But can you use your earbuds instead of blasting it on the speaker, that wonderful speaker we got in our room? Because I'm still asleep and it's really early in the morning, but that's protecting your peace. Instead of just being mad, you've got to learn how to communicate. You haven't seen your person all day, your mate, and as soon as they get home, you bombard them with 50, 11 questions. You trying to fill them in on the day, like I do. It's like, oh, let me tell you about this, and let me tell you about that. You know, you got the children, the spouse, the pets, and only, you know, God only knows what else coming at you. Set a boundary and say, you know what? When I get home, I just want to, you know, go in my room, take a shower, and wind down. So the boundary is, hey, I'm gonna come in and say hey to y'all, but I'll see y'all at the dinner table. It's setting boundaries, communicating what it is that you need. And when you set boundaries, you explain them and you expect them not to be crossed. And if they are, you know, you address them. Say, hey, I always start out with, hey, don't I? Hey, so that's my way of easing into stuff. My husband probably over here laughing at me because I'm like, hey, so, um, but a boundary could be a cooling off period. You know, sometimes people, when they get hot, they get heated, they mad right there on the spot. They want to talk about it right now. They want to talk about it right now. A boundary could be, and everybody has their own individual boundaries that they have to, you know, draw the line in the sand. That, you know, it's a boundary. Don't cross. There's a line. There's a line that you don't want to be crossed, but your person has to know this. Stop playing Jedi mind tricks and dropping hints like he know how I feel when Young and the Restless is on and I don't like nobody to be talking to me while that's on. My husband put the TV on pause when I started talking to him. So he can hear what I'm saying. And then he'll, you know, play it, don't you? But, you know, that's a happy medium. Um, but some people may need a cool on off period. But you have to let a person know because sometimes um, when the argument comes up or the disagreement comes up or the discussion comes up, you may be too heated about it to talk about it. So you want to say, you know, hey, I need a little bit of time. You know, hey, if you mad about something, just know if you come at me and I can tell you heated, I'm gonna say we need a cooling off period so we can talk about it later. But you got to come back to it. Y'all will hear me say that several times, you know, create those boundaries, set those rules of engagement. But when it comes down to having a disagreement, they're bound to happen in any relationship. You've got to create some rules around that. Decluttering your relationship, it's necessary um, to identify the problem, address it, and move forward. You have to be intentional. In a relationship, you have to be intentional because relationships, they require effort. Remember, I don't like saying, oh, it take work. Marriages take work because that always sounds so negative to me. But they require effort. You got to put in some effort. That means I am intentionally doing this to help my relationship. I'm intentionally doing this to put a smile on my mate's face. You got to know what those things are, big or small. The ones that don't cost any money. I got a little note on my on my set today that made me smile. When I came over to prepare for this show. So it's the little things that someone is doing that there's effort that's being put in. They don't have to plan anything large unless that's what it is that you like, but they have to know the things that you like. And you know how you find those things out? By talking to each other. Y'all remember some weeks back I talked about having check-in days. Pick a day of the week, check in, ask a bunch of random questions. They have questions that are available all over the internets. And you can just like questions to ask your spouse, but there's conversation starters and you'll end up talking maybe for hours and learning new things about each other. And so that's what it's all about, is learning new things about each other, but also being able to share. It opens up the door for conversation for you to be able to share. I mean, it's just like when you first got together, when everything was cute, when y'all was smiling in each other's faces and stuff like that, you couldn't get enough of each other. Yeah, having conversations, getting to know, because you cannot. It doesn't matter how long you've been with somebody, how many years it's been that you've been married. You're gonna continuously learn new things about people. So Look for that thing. Look for that question that you can ask that's going to spark some conversation. Not anything to make somebody mad, but I tell a whole lot of stories. And I say, oh, I remember this time when my siblings and I went to Six Flags and I rode the Georgia Scream Machine and my neck was hurting afterwards. And so, it may open up a door like that, and then we start sharing stories about childhood and your favorite ride at the fair or how a ride broke down with you on it. You continuously learn new things about each other, and that's what keeps it new and keeps it fresh. You know, when there's an issue, when there's an argument, you might have to be intentional in the way of you may have to be the one to break the ice. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You walking around not talking to each other and realize that it's been a week or it's been 2 weeks and you've gotten comfortable in that. You might have to be the one that's intentional and break the ice. Remember a few moments ago I talked about, what did you win? What did you win if your relationship is continuing to break down? You didn't win anything, right? So you might have to be the one to break the ice. Nobody's keeping score. If somebody got a scorecard somewhere, like it's a spades game, whoever get to 350 points first, something wrong if you playing games like that. But you might have to be the one to break the ice and say, you know what, hey, here I go with that hey again, right? But to start the conversation, and it could be, I love you and I really want to be with you. I want us to work it out, but I don't know how to start. I don't even remember what we argued about. Something. You know your person. How do you start it? And it's not about smoothing things over. Still address the issues, because I'm not a big proponent of there was an issue, we never resolved it, we just gonna move on, because that smoothing things over, it's just like building it's a building block for trouble. So if you have one issue and you just, oh, we're just going to get past it, we're just not going to talk about it, we're going to just kiss and make up, it's going to come back later, because somebody out of two people, somebody didn't forget, somebody's still in their feelings about that issue. So it has to be discussed. You've got to unpack what's really going on. What is it? What you got in your suitcase? What's the baggage? That baggage could be from a past relationship, a past hurt, something that person didn't even know about that triggered them. We talk about triggers sometime, that triggered them and triggered the mate, that, and a person who did it didn't even know what they were doing, because you know they could have done it on purpose, they could have known, but what if they didn't? If you haven't shared with them, okay, like, you can't put your hand in my face. I don't respond well to that. But my husband knows that. He knows I don't play fight. I don't slap box. I don't do any of that stuff, because that all of that is physical and can lead to other things. And so I don't play games like that. And that's something that we talked about early on. You know, what are your non-negotiables? That's one of my non-negotiables. Keep your hands in your pockets. you know, but it's communicating those things. But unpack what's really going on in your relationship. What is it that's really going on? Why are we walking around here not talking? Why are we flipping calendar days, wasting time? And wasting time, and you can't get yesterday back. You have today, but you're not doing that with it. Y'all should be planning toward the future and trying to figure this thing out. Whether you've been together for 12 minutes or 12 years, it doesn't matter. You're with that person because you want to be, until you decide otherwise, if that's what you so choose. Unpack what's really going on and address it. Remember, I said you've got to declutter your relationship to identify what the problem is, address it, and be able to move forward. Here go my tips. Hey, I've said it a few times tonight. Learn how to address an issue with your mate. Know your person. Talk to them. Hey, how do I break the ice when you're quiet? Or, some people are introverts and they just kind of don't want to be bothered, and there ain't nothing wrong. That person may say, you know what, I just need a moment sometimes. And you know what, we have to learn how to read our mates, just as we expect them to just know about us. So it takes time, invest time into your relationship to talk about a lot of things. Set some boundaries in the relationship. Figure out what your boundaries are. If you don't know what they are, they don't have to have a name, but just kind of explain what your boundaries are. Um, Let go of the past and don't bring it up. That's a hard one for all of us. But and especially if somebody continues to do the same thing over and over again, because that's a bigger problem. Go to therapy. I said it. Y'all knew y'all wasn't gonna go a whole video without me saying go to therapy. Tell them, Rosa, I know you on here. Go to therapy. Start the conversation. That's my next tip. Start the conversation. Don't wait for that person to do it, because you'll be waiting all day. And some people are stubborn, and they're like, I'm gonna out silence you, like we playing the silent game. Y'all too old for that. I don't care how old you are. You too old for that. If you watching this video, you too old to be walking around without without it. Even if you feel that that person is the one that's wrong, start the conversation if you care, if it matters to you. Don't let the fact that you're mad allow another day to go by without you talking to that person. So if you're walking around and not talking to your spouse, your mate, whoever it is that you're supposed to be with, even if y'all don't live together, know that there's somebody who didn't get to see today. You don't want to leave anything on the table, right? When you start that conversation with them, remember, you don't know what's going to happen, so be patient. Take some deep breaths and listen. Don't interrupt them. Listen to what they got to say. Because for every action, there's a reaction. So if your action is, I want to start talking to this person, and you want to address the issue, they're going to feel some type of way about it, whether that's good, bad, or indifferent. But maintain low tones. Pull up your big girl panties and listen, and be prepared to be a part of the solution, not the problem. And mentioning a solution, really, really work towards a solution. Remember, I just said a little while ago, don't just smooth things over just for the sake of saying, oh, this argument is over now. You didn't talk about what the issue was, because the issue will continue to show itself over and over again. The same issue might be different day, different script, but the same issue will keep peeping its little ugly head in. Address it, whatever it is. They say finances is a big issue in relationships. Talk about it. Raising kids is a big issue. Talk about it. So really, really work towards a solution. And you know what? Saying I'm sorry. It's okay to say I'm sorry, and I would like to move forward. So I want you to just keep that in mind. All right, so I've been talking about a big announcement, and here on this video you'll see a link where you can click to find out more information, but so that you can get notified when I have my virtual launch party. Actually, it's going to be on August the 6th. I'll be having a virtual launch party, hey, to keeping with the times, but a virtual launch party launching my brand and also my brand new website. So I am so excited about it. And you all have been on this journey with me for the past couple months, and I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And I pray that you'll just continue to stay on this journey with me. And great things are coming. So please click the link on the description of this video and sign up so that you can be invited to my virtual launch. My virtual launch is going to be by exclusive invitation only. Nobody will have the link to get in. I'm going to be doing some exciting things. Having some guests on, and I'm going to be giving away some prizes. Got to give away some prizes. So, leaving you with, go to therapy, declutter your relationship. I'm Miss Counsel, And you know, Miss Council knows a little bit about everything. I ain't telling you what I heard, but I'm telling you what I know. Y'all have a good night. Be blessed. And I will be right back here Thursday night at 8 p.m. with another topic. Click that link. Click the link and register. See you soon.